Hello, Science Alliance! Hello! If you're new, I am Lara. I am actually a qualified secondary school science teacher who streams live lessons to home educators, but you found out that I've got a first class drama degree from my old life and I love Shakespeare, so I'm teaching a Shakespeare module. We did one last year. We're just going to make it a yearly thing because it's great. So, let's just get stuck in, okay? I gave you a starter activity. I'm going to tell you right at the end of the lesson what the starter activity has to do with Shakespeare. But did you manage to think of something? I've thought of another example since I planned this lesson. Think of something that isn't dangerous or rude or against the law, but people in your society just don't do it. So my example was feeding squirrels in the park. You see a kid doing that, that's cute. If a child fed rats in the park, I can't really think of a biological difference, but a child would probably get told off and kicked out of the park if they were feeding rats. Another one I thought of is that dandelions are completely edible. As long as they haven't got any weed killer on, don't go out just munching dandelions, ask an adult. But dandelions are edible. They don't really taste worse than spinach. You can eat the root, the flower, the leaves. We just don't do it, do we? If you saw someone picking dandelions and putting them in a basket for tea, you would assume that they were a witch. Why? What's the Anyway, so be thinking about that. The other thing I asked you, that there's absolutely no chance that any one of you will have got this, but I just want to make a point later. Here's an old picture of two men on horses meeting three women. What book is it from? You're wrong. You're all wrong. Sorry. Right. So for the activity, this is my favourite activity that we do on Theatre of Science. We haven't done it for a while, and it's a beautiful combination of science and art. I said what you needed to bring with you was clear, flat plastic from the recycling. What we're going to do is, we need two pieces of clear flat plastic. We're going to put a little blob of paint on one of them, squeeze another bit of plastic on top, and then it off, and you get a lovely pattern. So the first thing you need to do while I chat to you a little bit about science, actually, to start with, is you need those two sheets of clean, flat plastic that you can squish together. It doesn't really matter how big they are. I'm going to cut this one in half. It doesn't matter as long as you don't put too much paint on. You could just do a teeny tiny one if you've only got a teeny tiny bit of plastic. But what you do have to do, please, is be really careful of your fingers. Just get an adult to do it, right? Cutting plastic is awful. It's really sharp. It's worse than a paper cut. It's got really pointy edges. So if you don't usually do that sort of thing, please don't do it. Just get an adult to do it, or do it later. Watch mine and do it later, okay? But I'm going to talk a little bit. Our introduction is about Isaac Newton, and then I'm going to seamlessly merge that with Shakespeare. So while I'm doing that, you might want to be cutting two bits of plastic for the squidgy activity. Okay, here we go. So this is 1687 we're going to talk about. This is after Shakespeare died, but it's still the 1600s. Isaac Newton, very famous scientist, here he is. He wrote a book called the Principia. And yes, he did. And in the Principia, he used maths to describe how gravity works. Okay? Now, I don't need you to remember this. This isn't actually a science lesson, but here is the maths. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so simple. This describes the force of gravity between two things. So the force of gravity between two things, for example, the Earth and the Moon, is exactly the same, says Isaac Newton, as the mass of one of the things times the mass of the other thing, divided by the radius between them, like how far apart they are, times itself, times this number that he called G. It's just a very, very, very tiny number. Isn't that amazing? What an incredibly sort of simple way to describe the force of gravity between two things. It was such a beautiful, amazing piece of maths that it got humans onto the moon nearly 300 years later. We used that equation to basically point a spaceship at the moon, and it was so accurate that it managed to get us landed on the moon. Amazing. And what did Newton say? A very, very famous quote that Newton says about all these incredible achievements throughout his life. He said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." What a great phrase. If I've seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. Meaning, obviously, if you're standing on the shoulder of a giant, you can see further. What he meant was, I wouldn't have been able to achieve all these fantastic things were it not for amazing people that have come before me. I have just built on the knowledge of other people. For example, Newton probably couldn't have made his amazing discoveries were it not for Copernicus. 100 years before Newton, Copernicus said, oh, do you know what? Actually, guys, Earth circles the sun. People used to think that the sun went around the Earth, and then Copernicus said, no, it's the other way around. Newton couldn't have made his amazing discoveries were it not for Kepler, who 80 years before him said, actually, they don't circle. I think you'll find they move in this kind of ovally shape, which is called an ellipse. What I didn't know before I planned this lesson, which has delighted me, is that this phrase, I knew the phrase, if I've seen further it is by standing on the shoulders of giants, very famously written in a letter by Isaac Newton. I didn't know that he didn't even make up that phrase. It was from like 500 years before him. So here's another speech bubble. If I said an awesome phrase about standing on the shoulders of giants, it was by standing on the shoulders of giants. Anyway, let's talk about Shakespeare, please. Let's get painty. Let's seamlessly bring science and art together because there's no such thing as subjects, kids. So all you need to do, don't put too much paint on because you're really going to squeeze it. I think I've been putting too much on. And I've been using 2 colours, but you know what? I'm going to get classy today. I'm just going to use 1 colour because this is the YouTube version of this lesson. I've taught it twice on Facebook already, and the YouTube one always is the best. Right, so here we go. Just now, yesterday I managed to work something out where I could balance you on this bit of technology on my desk so that I could hold it and you could see it at the same time. Are we going to be able to do that? Yeah, look at that. Okay, so you put a blob of paint on the plastic. You push the other bit of plastic down hard so it all smooshes. There we go. And now this is the tricky bit, okay? What you need to do is, the gorgeous pattern is happening already. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, what you need to do is don't peel it to the side. Actually, I told you this always went better on YouTube. I haven't used too much paint this time, so actually I don't need to worry too much about how I pull it off. Usually I was saying make sure you pull it upwards. Don't pull it to the side or you'll sort of smudge it. But that's just a done deal. Wow, that's great. Okay, so what this is... I'm just wondering whether I should do it again because that was too easy. This is what you get. What you get is a fractal pattern. I'm gonna. Do you know what? Now you've seen that, I am gonna put another colour on. You can do this as much as you like throughout the lesson. What I want you to be thinking about is why are we doing this? Why are we doing this in a Shakespeare lesson? How does this relate to the idea of standing on the shoulders of giants? Let's do it again. Let's see what happens if I use more paint. Pop. Oh, yes. Wonderful. Oh, so good. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. I suppose I'd better stop. Oh, maybe 1 more time. Smushy, smushy. And there we go. Oh, yeah. Right. Okay. Sorry. So that's called a fractal pattern. I'll explain actually what that is at the end. And I'll give you like a little bit of research homework as well if you want it, because it relates to a lot of the different things we're going to be doing in the Shakespeare lesson. But yeah, it depends how many bits of plastic you've got. You could just carry on with that, but I want you to be thinking, how does that relate to our lesson today? Okay, right. Let's give you a little bit of history because I want to put Shakespeare in context today. Whenever I learned about Shakespeare at school and college and uni, I just learned about Shakespeare, and I want to look today at what giants Shakespeare's shoulders was standing on, you know what I mean? And look at how he actually existed in the world, not just as one human. So let's have a little look about sort of what was happening on the planet. Well, not on the planet, in England. Well, not in England, in Italy, it doesn't matter. Right, in 1543... Copernicus suggested that Earth went round the sun. That was when he had that thought. And a few years later, in 1564, Shakespeare was born. And he quickly moves from Stratford-on-Avon, where he's born, to London, where he writes his first plays, abandons his wife and child, which is about the same time that the microscope is invented as well. And then a few years later, in 1603, Elizabeth I dies and King James comes onto the throne. So Shakespeare is writing while Elizabeth I is Queen of England, and then he also ends up writing actually for King James. So he exists sort of like we've done, if you remember, King Charles coming on the throne over 2 royals. I love this. It was while Shakespeare was in London, that the gunpowder plot happened as well. You know, Guy Fawkes gets caught under the House of Parliament with loads of gunpowder, and now we have bonfires in England to sort of celebrate the fact that he didn't succeed. In 1611, Shakespeare writes The Tempest. This is pretty much his last play. And then in 1616, Shakespeare dies. And then if you want a bit more context, if you're a history nerd like me, then a few years later, 1642, is the English Civil War, which we will talk about a little bit later. So yeah, it's an amazing time to be alive. Do you ever find yourself quoting your favourite cartoon or your favourite film? Probably without even noticing it. You just throw in little film quotes into your conversation. The gunpowder plotters, because there were loads of them, not just Guy Fawkes. We've got a letter that one of the plotters sent another plotter where they kind of quote Shakespeare. I love that, because in London at the time, Shakespeare was the kind of big shot playwright, and it was really cool to go and see his plays, and everyone was quoting him. Shakespeare was living kind of just before this amazing scientific revolution in Europe. So yeah, the microscope is getting invented. People are starting to think about the world in a different way, but he doesn't really. If he'd been writing sort of 30 years afterwards, we might see more science in his place. But anyway, right, let's talk about the shoulders of the giants that he was standing on. So last time we studied Shakespeare, we did a load of lessons about Macbeth, and we heard that in the Shakespeare play Macbeth, here he is, and his friend Banquo meet three mysterious magical women. They don't actually get called witches in the Shakespeare play, but three magical women. And the women say to Macbeth something like, "All hail, Macbeth, hail to thee. All hail, Macbeth, you will be Thane of Cawdor. All hail, Macbeth, you will be king." And they say to Banquo, "Banquo, your children shall be kings." Gasp. And here is a picture. This is a picture from an old book which was supposed to represent Macbeth and Banquo, the men on the horses, meeting the women, the mysterious magical women. And it's from a book called Holinshed's Chronicles, which is a history book written ages before Shakespeare wrote Macbeth. Oh, I know. So in Holinshed's Chronicles, there is a Macbeth and a Banquo. I mean, Macbeth was a real figure in history. But Macbeth and Banquo meet three magical women who make the same prophecies they make in Shakespeare's play, and Macbeth's wife encourages them to plot to kill the king. And apparently this book also gave Shakespeare the stories for King Lear and for Cymbeline as well. Here's another example of where he got his story from. He wrote a very famous play called Othello in 1604, but that comes from a story written in 1565 by an Italian person called Cintio, where a woman called Desdemona falls madly in love and gets married, and the man's servant gets very jealous and does evil things, and Desdemona, well, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but Shakespeare's play is incredibly similar. I must admit, I didn't really know this, that yeah, a lot of his plays, apparently, my English teacher friend was telling me that in those days, to just say, I made up a play, probably wouldn't actually have been as impressive as saying, William Shakespeare brings to you the famous historic tale of blah, 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 Cymbeline, King Lear, Macbeth. So yeah, like he wasn't stealing, and he put loads of his own ideas in as well. But he did get a lot of the basic storylines from his play from other books, which he probably owned. Right, I've done a lot of talking. I've got a job for you. People were doing really well with this on Facebook. I was really surprised. I thought it was hard. I've got 4 tiny chunks from Shakespeare, and I want you to say, if I forced you to put them into pairs, how would you pair them up? 2 of them have got something in common, and the other 2 have got something in common. So you don't need to think too hard about why. You can if you like. How are you going to pair these up, okay? This is really just to get you actually thinking about Shakespeare and reading a bit of Shakespeare. And then I'll tell you in a few seconds how they're similar and how they're not similar. So the first chunk of a bit of Shakespeare is, when I do count the clock that tells the time and see the brave day sunk in hideous night. That's the first chunk. The second chunk is, dear Celia, I show more mirth than I'm mistress of, and would you yet I were merrier? The third chunk is, let me play the lion too. I will roar that it will do any man's heart good to hear me. I will roar that I will make the Duke say, let him roar again. And the fourth bit is, but soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east and Juliet is the sun. If you had to put two of them together, because you think they might have something in common, and the other two together, which two would you put together, please? Like I say, you can think about why as well, if you like. And if you've done it, if you know this already, you could like and subscribe. Or you could go over to my Facebook page. Whenever I'm live on YouTube, I don't have comments on these all ages lessons, but I have put a post at the top of my Facebook page, which you can comment on if you like, if you've got a Facebook account, and I'll go and say hi to it at the end. If you haven't got a Facebook account, well done you. And if you're just lurking, that's great. Thanks for lurking. All makes a difference. When I do count the clock that tells the time, and see the brave day sunk in hideous night. Dear Celia, I share more mirth, and I'm mistress of Mundi Yellow Maria. You don't need to understand any of it, is your clue. It's not really about the words. Okay, let's have a look then. What I'm trying to get at is that there's two different styles of writing that you see in Shakespeare plays, you hear in Shakespeare plays. They are prose, which has no set rhythm. It's what I would call just talking. And there's verse, which is like poetry. It has a rhythm. It looks like a poem on the page. The clue is usually each line starts with a capital letter when you're dealing with verse. So some of these are prose, no rhythm in it, just talking, and some of them are verse. It has a rhythm, it looks like a poem. This first one, when I do count the clock that tells the time and see the brave day sunk in hideous night. You might be able to hear a rhythm there, which we will discuss, but yeah, both lines start with capital letter, so that is a verse. And the other verse is, but soft what light through yonder window breaks. It is the east and Juliet is the sun. And they both start with capital letters, so that's verse as well. The Dear Celia, I show more mirth, and the bit about the lion, that's prose. It's just talking. So go on, have you understood that? Which of these lines is prose, please? It's got no rhythm. And which is verse? Has rhythm, looks like a poem. This is both Lady Macbeth, Macbeth's wife, who we heard about earlier. The first bit is her saying, "'Tis safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy." You don't need to understand it. Just enjoy the words. And the second one is, "Here's the smell of the blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Oh, oh, oh." I've never played Lady Macbeth. I don't know if you can tell. Have you got it? This first one is verse, isn't it? We've got those two capital letters there. And the second one is prose. She's just chatting. You hear prose and verse in Shakespeare plays for different reasons. Kind of famously, the sort of wealthier, richer, posher, upper class characters speaking verse, and the poorer, more common characters or the comedy characters tend to speak in prose, just chatting. But it's a bit more complicated than that, as you can see, because this is both Lady Macbeth. So what Shakespeare's doing here is sort of showing us her journey. At the start of the play, Lady Macbeth, she's very in control of herself and of everybody else as well. And she's speaking in verse. She's got it together. By the end of the play, like I say, no spoilers, but she's unravelling slightly and she's less in control. And maybe this is what Shakespeare is trying to show us with the difference between the verse and the prose. Right. Let's dig into the kind of verse that Shakespeare used. He used this verse, we did talk about this last year, so some of you will know this already. He used iambic pentameter, which is a super posh way of saying iambic just means that the rhythm is da-dum. And pentameter means there are 5 beats, 5 lots of da-dum. So for example, this very famous Shakespeare line, "If music be the food of love, play on," is in iambic pentameter. It's 5 lots of kind of 2 beats. So it's 10 syllables, right? You can count them. If music be the food of love, play on. 10 syllables. A video that I saw online said that a good way to spot iambic pentameter was to put your fingers together like that and sort of gently tap your chest and then pat your chest with your flat palm, and that's one iamb. That's a didum, right? Didum. So it's 5 lots of those. Didum, 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 didum. If music be the food of love, play on. And it's the second beat that is stressed. So it's not dudum, it's dudum. If music be the food of love, play on. It's good, isn't it? What does it sound like? I mean, you've probably sort of noticed this already. If you need a clue, get your flat hands and gently put your hands over your ears. Do you hear anything when you put your hands over your ears? You might or you might not. Have a go. I think I did hear it then. I didn't hear it on Facebook yesterday. What you're hearing is, well, it's not exactly a heartbeat, it's the blood swooshing through your ears. But yeah, it sounds like a heartbeat. So there's this idea that iambic pentameter sort of appeals to humans because it's kind of, it reaches deep into our heart. I'm not sure that's quite true actually. Apparently it's about the same length as an average English sentence, and it sort of feels like music, right? I prefer to go and see Shakespeare plays than other plays, and I think it's because it's got this kind of musical aspect that other players what are just talking in prose don't have. Anyway, can you spot some iambic pentameter for me, please? Here's some. Is this iambic pentameter? Is this 5 dudums? But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? Is that iambic pentameter? Have you decided? Should we do the chest pounding thing? Remember, da-dum, 5 of those. Is it 5 of those? But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is, isn't it? Spot on. He knew what he was doing. Yes, that is iambic pentameter. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? Yes. What about this one? This is Ariel. We're going to start studying the Tempest next week. So this is from the Tempest. All hail, great master, grave sir, hail, I come to answer thy best pleasure, be it to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride. Is that in iambic pentameter? Let's have a go. I'm doing the chest pokey thing, but I'll keep you pointed at the screen so you can see the words. All hail, great master, grave sir, hail I come, to answer thy best pleasure, be it to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride. Yes, it is, isn't it? Each line is 5 lots of dudum. What about this one? The witches from Macbeth, or the magical women. Double, double toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Everyone always thinks it's like hubble bubble toil and trouble, but it's not. Apparently in Harry Potter they said that. I don't know. Someone was saying in the Facebook comments. If you can hear a little noise, it's me counting on my fingers. Some people were saying yes yesterday. It does have a rhythm, definitely. It is verse, it's absolutely verse, but it's not the verse that is called iambic pentameter because it's only 4. But it's quite hard to count and to dum at the same time. Double, toil and trouble. There's only 4 in it. So it's verse, it's got a rhythm, but it's not iambic pentameter because that's 5 lots. This is probably because Shakespeare, well, I mean, it's the witches chanting, so I guess Shakespeare wanted their bit to be different to what all the other characters in the play were doing. Maybe it was to show that there was something kind of different and otherworldly about the witches. I don't know. Anyway, it's good, isn't it? Right, what about this? Notice anything slightly strange here? When I do count the clock that tells the time and see the brave day sunk in hideous night, is that all iambic pentameter? Count the syllables. Is it iambic pentameter? When I do count the clock that tells the time, that's 10, perfect. 2 times 5 beats is 10. And see the brave day sunk in hideous night. It's 11 syllables, isn't it? What's going on there? Well, this is where I've learned something this week, chums. Because I've been going to these workshops that they're running in my town for how to act Shakespeare, and Niall, the fantastic teacher, actually covered iambic pentameter this week, which was lucky for us. So last year when I taught this, I would have said, oh, it is iambic pentameter, it is. But I would have said, just kind of fudge it, just go, when I do count the clock that tells the time and see the brave day sunk in hideous night. I'd have just made hideous 2 syllables. I'd have said, don't count the syllables, count the beats. You can easily make it fit in. But Niall this week said, no, it's Shakespeare, innit? It's Shakespeare. If he'd wanted it to fit, he would have made it fit. He could have done that. He could have found the 2-syllable word that means hideous. It's 3 syllables for a reason. He's giving us a clue. He's telling the actor how he wants this line to be said. Keep it as 3 syllables because he wants to emphasise the word hideous. And I thought, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. Look, here's another one. But soft what light through yonder window breaks. It is the east and Juliet is the sun. What about that line is not quite working? Why is that not quite the right amount of syllables? It is iambic pentameter, but there's just something a little bit more interesting going on. What is the word that stands out? But soft what light through yonder window breaks. It is the east and Juliet. It's Juliet, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Do you think, of course, Shakespeare is saying, could you just have a little play with this word Juliet here? Because it's important. So, it is iambic pentameter, yes. Shakespeare's just doing a thing. So last week we looked at this kind of last year, sorry, we looked at this kind of thing. Iambic pentameter can be shared across characters. Here's Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. Hath he asked for me? Know you not he has. Beautiful iambic pentameter. Across 2 lines, it still counts. They're married, so they're sharing the lines. And the desire to commit evil, murderous deeds. Right, now, this lesson has lasted quite a long time already. I don't want to go on too long, but I have to show you this because I got myself really confused yesterday. I found this brilliant example of a bit of Shakespeare. I put it in to my lesson yesterday on Facebook. And I got really confused. And when I finished the lesson, I had an email from my friend, Philip, who also just happens to be the chair of the International Shakespeare Festival. So quite a big deal. Knows their stuff. And they told me the right answer. And I had got it wrong. So yeah, we're all learning all the time, aren't we? I was so pleased. Philip, thank you so much. So I've put a bit more in to really give you an idea of how this works. Is this iambic pentameter? This is from Shakespeare's play King John. So it's 2 different characters. It's King John talking to Hubert, and I've written out the lines as they often get written out. King John says, "He lies before me. Dost thou understand me? Thou art his keeper." And Hubert says, "And I'll keep him so, that he shall not offend your majesty." And then you've got this lovely, just kind of 1 or 2 lines each. "Death, my lord, a grave, he shall not live. Enough." Is that iambic pentameter? What is happening there? I needed Philip to explain that to me. But, you know, it's great. Oh, it's so good. I'm so lucky. It's just such a privilege to have people in your life who know more than you, who are willing to tell you stuff. What do you reckon? Is that iambic pentameter? What is going on? Philip pointed out this thing that I just thought was fantastic, but I hadn't realised. Okay, what I was really confused by this bit. I thought, oh, enough must be on another line, and the iambic pentameter is, "Death, my lord, a grave, he shall not live." But it's not that. What's happening is, this is iambic pentameter. He lies before me, dost thou understand me? And then they share the other line, thou art his keeper, and I'll keep him so, that he shall not offend your majesty. All good. King John just says death. He just breaks it up. He just says death. How good is that? And then it goes into iambic pentameter again. My lord a grave, he shall not live enough. But if I was acting this, I would have to have a good word with the director about what is going on here. Yeah, it's just, the king just says the word death. Brilliant, love it. But yeah, that is iambic pentameter. This is how, it's just, yeah, it's, well, I don't know. It's just very good at his job, isn't he? Right, anyway. Shakespeare, because we're talking about the shoulders of the giants that he stood on, Shakespeare did not make up iambic pentameter. It was brought to English actually by someone who you might have heard of if you like oldie theatre. Chaucer, a very famous poet from the 1300s, he brought iambic pentameter to English, but he used to do it with the rhyming. I'm not going to read this out, but you can see mask weeds, task reads. Chaucer rhymes. Shakespeare quite often doesn't rhyme. He uses this thing called blank verse. So it's still verse, it's still got a rhythm, it's iambic pentameter, but it doesn't rhyme. But Shakespeare didn't invent blank verse either, actually. It was Christopher Marlowe who made blank verse really popular. Christopher Marlowe was the real big deal in London before Shakespeare came along. He was only 2 months older than Shakespeare, but he just started writing plays a bit earlier. Everyone thought Christopher Marlowe was brilliant, and he was. You should go and see a Marlowe play. He didn't write that many because sadly he died in a bar fight when he was 23. Shakespeare does mention him in his plays. Right, okay, let's go back to this painting activity because I want to tell you about the starter activity and do a little quiz for you as well. So what this is a fractal pattern, and I just thought, what a gorgeous combination of maths and science and art. What happens is when you peel off the paint, air rushes in, because air likes to go from where there's a lot of air to where there's not much air. So air rushes into the paint, but then the stream that the air is going down, air rushes off that into the paint, and then air rushes off that into the paint, and air rushes off that into the paint. It's called a fractal pattern. A fractal pattern is a kind of constantly repeating pattern, usually formed by the same sort of processes. So a river is a good example, right? A river is very similar to what we've just done. You get water forging its way through the landscape, and then water comes off that and forges its way through the landscape, and then water comes off that and forges its way through the landscape, and water goes again. That's a fractal pattern. A fern leaf, if you've ever seen a fern leaf, that's a good example of a fractal pattern, or a tree root as well. And that's what we've got here. We've got one little bit of the pattern is kind of the same as the bigger pattern overall. And I thought, what a lovely way of showing that one thing can't exist on its own. It's something happening before it and before it and before it and before it that creates the overall beautiful thing. Kind of in the same way that Shakespeare needed people to write histories and bring iambic pentameter to English and then use blank verse in a very fantastic way. But I don't want you to go away thinking that Shakespeare just nicked all his ideas, okay? I mean, for a start, he didn't steal ideas. It was taking lots of influences from lots of different places, which is important if you're going to be good at stuff. But he did do some inventing. If you've ever heard the phrase, too much of a good thing, that's a line that Shakespeare wrote. If you've ever thought something in your heart of hearts, that's Shakespeare. If you've heard the phrase, seen better days, like if you've got a toy that's seen better days, but you just can't get rid of it, that's Shakespeare. If an adult ever says that you've eaten them out of house and home, or you haven't slept a wink, these are all lines that Shakespeare invented. So he was a great inventor as well. But obviously he didn't get born into a completely empty world that he had to fill. He took his inspiration from all kinds of different places, as hopefully we have seen today. All right, just going back to this activity then, I asked you to think of something that wasn't rude or dangerous or against the law, but people just don't do it. Maybe you've commented on my Facebook page. I'll go there at the end of this lesson and see what you came up with. But a really famous thing of Shakespeare's day is that women didn't act in Shakespeare's play during Shakespeare's time. Men dressed up as women and acted the parts of the women. It wasn't against the law. Quite a lot of places on the internet will tell you it was against the law for women to act. It wasn't. It just wasn't the done thing. It was fine in Europe, in France and other places. Women could just act on the stage, but in England it was just. It just wasn't a done thing. It was like eating a dandelion that doesn't have any weed killer on it. You know, there's no reason for it not to be fine. It just people weren't happy with it. So some French women actually acted on the stage in London just after Shakespeare died, 1629. And here's what one audience member said. This is how I imagine he said it. Glad I am to say that they were hissed, hooted and pippin-pelted from the stage, so as I do not think they will soon be ready to try the same again. These poor women, horribly abused. People just did not like it. And then, a few years after Shakespeare died, there was this civil war, and England didn't have a king or a queen, and theatre got banned. And then Charles II came on the throne and made a rule that women had to be on the stage. To be honest, it wasn't for great reasons. He basically had a problem with men wearing dresses. He thought this was terrible, so it wasn't good news for the men who wanted to wear dresses, but it did mean that women could now sort of had to act on stage. So we'll get there eventually, folks, won't we? So here's Margaret Hughes, who played Desdemona. In 1660, she was, if not the first, she was certainly one of the first women actors in Britain. Right, are you ready for my quiz? This is a quiz. Find the mystery word to see how much you've picked up from this lesson. I'm going to ask you 4 questions. They're multiple choice, and each time you see the right answer, I want you to write a letter down. So there's 4 questions. In the end, you should have 4 letters, and they will make a mystery word. I'm laughing because hardly anyone got the mystery words right on Facebook. I think this is really hard, even though it's multiple choice. People were so cross with me. But anyway, I'm just going to do it again for you. 4 questions, find the right answer, find the mystery word. Question number 1. Which of these did Shakespeare make up? If you think Shakespeare made up rhyming, then the first letter of the mystery word is an S. If you think he made up verse, the first letter of your mystery word is a C. If you think Shakespeare made up the phrase seen better days, then the mystery word starts with a P. And if you think Shakespeare made up iambic pentameter, then the mystery word starts with an F for frog. I'll give you all the questions again before I tell you the answer. So don't worry, you'll have a chance to see what word you've got, see if it makes sense, and then you can change it after if you like. Question number 2. How can you spot if something's in verse, poetry, or prose? Just talking. And to help you, I've put some verse down here. These are both verse. 'Tis safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn and cauldron bubble. That's both verse. But how do you spot verse? Verse rhymes and prose doesn't. Write an R. Each line of prose has a capital letter. Write a W. Verse always has 5 beats. Write an E. Each line of verse has a capital letter. Write an L. So this is verse. How can you tell that that is verse? Is it that verse rhymes and prose doesn't? Write an R. Each line of prose has a capital letter. Write a W. Verse always has 5 beats. Write an E. Each line of verse has a capital letter. Write an L. Like I say, I'll show you all these again before I reveal the answer. Are these iambic pentameter? So is this orange chunk iambic pentameter? But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east and Juliet is the sun. And here's the pink one. Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York. If you think that just that orange one, the first one, is iambic pentameter, then your third letter is A. If you think that just the second one, the pink, is iambic pentameter, then the third letter is E. If you think they're both iambic pentameter, then the letter is U. And if you think that neither of those are iambic pentameter, then the answer is O. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east and Juliet is the sun. Is that iambic pentameter? Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York. Is that iambic pentameter? Just the first one A, just the second one E. They both are U, neither of them are O. And finally, which dramatic historical event happened in London while Shakespeare lived there? If you think it was a gunpowder plot, write an M for mouse. If you think it was a Great Fire of London, write a G for giraffe. If you think it was the Civil War, write an N for neurodiversity. And if you think it was World War II, write a Y for yeah. Okay, so all of those questions again. Which of these did Shakespeare make up? So you've got a mystery word now, and now you can check if you think your mystery word is correct. Which of these did Shakespeare make up? Rhyming, write an S. Verse, write a C. The phrase seen better days, write a P. Iambic pentameter, write an F. Happy with that? Most people on Facebook were happy with that. How can you spot if something's in verse? 'Tis safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy. Verse rhymes, poetry doesn't. Your second word's letters and R. Each line of prose has capital letter, write W. Verse always has 5 beats, write an E. Each line of verse has capital letter, write an L. Again, most people on Facebook are pretty happy with the answer for that. Here's where people started to get really, really angry with me. Are these iambic pentameter? But soft what light through yonder window breaks, it is the eastern Juliet is the sun. Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York. Which of those is iambic pentameter, or are they both? And finally, what dramatic historical event happened in London while Shakespeare was there? Gunpowder plot, write a M. Great Fire of London, write a G. The Civil War, write a N. World War II, write a Y. Okay. So the answers are, Shakespeare made up the phrase, seen better days. He didn't make up rhyming, certainly, or verse. Iambic pentameter was invented by the Greeks and then Chaucer brought it to English, but he did make up loads of cool phrases, like seen better days. So we've got a per. Verse doesn't always, iambic pentameter always has 5 beats, but verse can have all kinds of beats. Verse doesn't always rhyme, so you can get blank verse, but each line of verse always has capital letter. So our mystery word is pl. These are both iambic pentameter. Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this son of York. It's an 11-syllable one, isn't it? But it's still iambic pentameter. So we've got pl. And then, yeah, it wasn't World War II, definitely not. The Great Fire of London and the Civil War are a little bit later. So your mystery word is plum, not play and not plam. Although we did decide on Facebook, everyone was so angry, we decided that plam did have to be a word. So plam now means evil, apparently, because you can have a plan. Good, right. Okay, that is the end of this lesson, except if you want a little research project, what you could do, please, because next week we're studying The Tempest. We've got 3 lessons on The Tempest, the famous Shakespeare play. If you want, you can go away, do some activity, do some research. Can you tell me what today's paint activity had to do with The Tempest? The clue's in the name, The Tempest, all right? What does your fractal pattern have to do with the play The Tempest? The clue is in the name, The Tempest. So if you want a job, go away and look that up. Right, you lot, that is the end of the lesson. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go over to my Facebook page and see if anyone has left me any comments. Before I do that, I better do my ad, basically, because you might be thinking, if you're new, this is weird. Doesn't this person have a job? Yeah, I do. This is actually my job. It's amazing. So how it works is, everything that I do is free, because it can be free, because you're paying me anyway. It's so good. You wouldn't think it works, but it does. I make all my lessons free. I make all the printouts for the lessons free. You can find them all on my website. It's all free, just there, available to watch on catch up. I don't have any sort of secret Zoom group where I teach like one-to-one tuition or anything like that. You are literally my only students. These are the only lessons that I do. Everything is accessible to everyone. And I just say, if you're using these lessons, if you appreciate my work, you can pay me, and people are. So if you pay me £5 a month, I will send you some nice things in the post because, well, to sort of inspire you to sign up and also to say a massive thank you. So if you go to my About section on YouTube, you get to this website called Coffee. And Coffee is where you can send me £5 a month. And if you put your address into Coffee, I will send you these rainbow glasses that make you see rainbows. They're awesome. I'll send you a little description I wrote about how they work, because I'm a physics teacher. And I'll send you Theatre of Science magazine. It doesn't come out very often, but it's very good. I work very hard on Theatre of Science magazine. If you sign up with £5 a month, I'll send you the mould issue. Comes with a home compostable plastic bag so you can grow different types of mould and study them and then get rid of it in an eco-friendly way. It's got Choose Your Own Adventure and a comic and a load of information about mould. If you sign up with £6 a month, you can sign up with like £1 billion a month if you like, but if you sign up with 6, I'll throw in another past issue, which is about sleep. Again, it's got a Choose Your Own Adventure, it's got an origami koala because they sleep a lot, it's got loads of information about sleep, it's got a comic about sleep, it's got an arty jigsaw, comes with some organic lavender and a piece of fabric so that you can do a craft activity. Yeah, I'm very proud of Theatre of Science magazine. So that's how it works. If you sign up, you'll be on the list to get Theatre of Science magazine whenever it comes out, which is really not very often. Basically, you're chipping in towards my wages to make this my job. And the magazine is a thank you. But it is a good time to sign up, actually, because the next magazine is very close to being ready. The comic's written, husband has designed it all beautifully. It's got a very long story that I wrote about Mary, Queen of Scots, and how she sort of became undone because of spying. Yeah, no spoilers, but yeah, I'm very pleased with it. It's going to come with lots of fun little gifts as well. So if you want to be on the list to get that magazine and get the magazines and the rainbow glasses through the post, go to my About section on YouTube or my blue button at the top of my Facebook page and sign up to support me. Thank you. That is how this is my job. Oh, you like my jumper? I am now on Facebook. I've clicked all comments. And Bella is saying, Lara, where did you get your jumper from? I've showed you this before. This isn't a jumper, it's a dress. I got it from Oxfam online, because that's where I get all my clothes. But it's from, where's it from? I can't read backwards. Is it ASOS? I think it's just, yeah, ASOS. But Oxfam online, oh, it's the business. I shouldn't even tell you that, because I don't want you to shop there. I want to shop there. Matilda says hello. And for the starter says, oh, yeah. Oh, Matilda, that's a brilliant one. Why do people feed horses in fields but not cows? Yeah. What is that? Yeah, that's true. Poor cows. You're right. That's so weird. Simon and Talitha's fractal patterns. Thank you, Natalie. Oh, Natalie is transferring them onto paper. What? Can you do that? All right, let's have a go. Can you do that? I'm going to try that. I'm going to try it right now. I didn't think that'd work. Does it not just smush? Okay, let's have a go. Smushy. This isn't going to work, is it? Is it? Oh, let's have a go. Oh, I'm excited. Oh, you see, this is why I need you lot, why I need the comments and things. So if I lift that up now. Oh, OMG. Did I smush too hard? It's not bad, is it? On top of the paint, you get a lot of lovely fractal patterns. Let's try again. Smush. Let's not overthink it this time. Let's not try too hard. And lift. It's not bad. Am I doing something wrong? Does it work better when you've got less paint, I wonder? Maybe it does. Smush again. Sorry, we'll get to the comments. A bit, yeah. Right, sorry, up here. sorry. Very nice. Hello, Abba and Dog Raffles. She says her chest hurts from all the Iambic pentameter tapping. Yeah, I did think that. Sorry, it's a little bit pointy, isn't it? Yeah. You really love your accent. Thanks. I do love doing an accent. Also, I took Love Story by Taylor Swift and made the lyrics to be from Romeo's perspective. No way! I wish that I knew Love Story by Taylor Swift. Oh, I'm so uncool, aren't I? I don't know it. Juliet, there is nowhere we can be alone. You are underage. I am way too old. I'm already a prince, you were born a princess. This ain't a love story, but okay, yes. That sounds awesome. I don't think we ever find out how old Romeo is, do we? I think there's this thing that Juliet is like 13 or 12 or something. I don't know if they ever actually said, I don't know. Anyway, that was very funny, thank you. Hello, Mila. Ah, Mila, that's really nice of you. Oh, that's really nice. Mila is saying that this lesson is fun. Thank you. I was quite worried it was a bit long, actually. When I'm teaching something I'm really interested in, I get a bit like, and another thing. We've borrowed... What? We've borrowed Shakespeare's first folio from the library, say Lyra and Anya. What? That's amazing. Has it got pictures in it? You can print them. Oh, that's much better. Natalie, that's much better than mine. How did you do that? Natalie's got like a... Oh, yeah. Yours is like an inverted... Okay, so people have seen Natalie's comment about how you can print it onto paper, and people are jumping on that. Well done. Thank you, Natalie. Picture from Macbeth, says Agnes. No, but thank you so much for saying that. That is what I wanted everybody to say. Yeah. Hello from Holly and Sky. And Holly says it was her birthday on Tuesday. Holly's hit 13. What? Holly, you can't be 13. Also, we eat dandelions. I do as well. My family thinks it's really weird. I just go out into the garden when I need a salad. Yes, that's nice. Look, Jane saying happy birthday, Holly. Happy birthday. 13. Dude, I'm a little bit intimidated. Hello, Jancy. Hello, Jay and Daisy and Daniel. Thank you for saying happy birthday to Holly. That was nice of you. All right, Mila. Can you do a Lego story about witches? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can. Loads of people have asked about this. I sort of don't want to because it's just so sad in it. Because witches sounds really exciting. Oh, cool. And then when you quickly, as you start learning about it, you're like, this is just people being really mean to women. Really mean to loads of women. So I don't really know how to do it for kids without it just getting super dark, but I'll write it on the board. I guess I could always say, kids, there's a lot of stuff I'm not going to talk about because it's so dark. Because it's just loads and loads of stories to end with, and then they killed her. And then they killed her. But yeah, we will. We totally could. We could look at the sort of nice side of witches, couldn't we? Like, you know, women who healed people, and we could look at herbs and say, yeah, okay, I'll try and do a Lego show about witches that isn't just and then another person was really horrible to another woman. Longleat Festival of Lights had a Shakespeare festival section this year with this scene and two cool ones that spoke from Macbeth and Midsummer Night's Dream. They were all lit up in the dark. Well, that sounds good. I'm not even that wait, am I? Maybe I am far from Longleat. Oh, that's super. I'm sorry. There's something really creepy about that. Have a look at this picture. So this is Longleat. I was expecting to go, oh wow, brilliant. I'm quite scared. Is that? So that's not a. What is that? What is that? What is that? It's not a person. I thought it was a person dressed up, but it's not. I would think that it's AI, but as far as I know, AI can't yet sort of become real and sit at an actual table outside. Is it wearing Crocs? What's with the bin bag? Is that what it poos into? Okay, I can totally see. I'm being funny. I can see how all this lit up would be gorgeous. But there's just something, I'm sorry guys, there's something not right about that. Is it? It's 3D because there's a table and a bin. I'm clicking away. I don't know. There's something deep in my evolved brain that is making me very uncomfortable about that. Hello, Bella. Very excited for the Shakespeare lessons to start again. From the starter I have, you don't park in other people's parking spot down our road. Yeah, that is, yeah. A lot of us live on that kind of road. That is true. Hello, Etienne. By the way, we eat dandelion. Of course you do. It's because home educate, isn't it? We're all just a bunch of hippies. I know that we eat dandelions, but generally in society, it's a shame about the weed killer, isn't it? Because otherwise we could just start a campaign telling everyone, you know, there's all this free, really nutritious food all around. Anyway, hello, Marley. Putting cream on a scone before jam in a Cornish cream tea. Yeah, that's a really good one. That's a really good one. Something that just makes people go, oh, no. Like, really? Because reasons? No, just no. Mila said, oh, Mila, you're giving me some real love today. Thank you so much. This is making me feel really good. This is my first Shakespeare lesson. Oh, no, that is so cool. Hey, there's Latte and Mocha. Is this you? Oh, there's you with, oh, that's so cute. All right, we need a picture of the goats. There's always time for pictures of goats. Look at that. Oh, look at them. Now we've got your hand for scale. They look even cuter than they did last time. Oh, they look so happy. They look so happy. Right, for some reason, pointing my camera down has made me need to blow my nose, so I'm just going to avoid you for your own sakes for a second. Right. Oh, hello, Jessica. Oh, good to see you. No way, Hannah, it's your first time doing these. I thought I hadn't seen your name before. Oh, that's really nice. Great. Lyra and Anya here. Edmund thinks the picture is from the book The Canterbury Tales. Oh, that was close, wasn't it? Very nice. Very nice. Canterbury Tales written by Chaucer, who brought Iambic pentameter to English. No, it wasn't. Although, actually, if you want to get really nerdy about this, Edmund, and I know you do, it was a kind of generic picture, which pops up in a few different books, I think, and they just happened to use it in that book to represent Banquo and Macbeth. But maybe it was older than that, so I don't know. I can't tell you that it's definitely not from the Canterbury Tales. You got plem. Bella got plem and Mum got prum. Brilliant. Well, between you have a word. Oh, yes, you're a pagan, so I say I'm a witch, modern day witch. Do you know, I've started saying I'm a pagan as well, since I started researching Christmas and the equinox for these lessons, yeah. Oh, don't, because now I'm saying I'm a pagan. If I do a lesson on witches, I will totally be a witch by the end of the lesson. I absolutely will. Yeah, that's a good reason. That's a good reason for doing it. Emma has plum. Okay, fine. Plum is the mystery word. Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. But I'm quite enjoying all the mystery words. Freya and Hannah say hi. We're also here, all through Raymond's, but Facebook wasn't working. Oh no! I feel like I should. Hi. Just the head there. You all caught up. Whoa! Okay, Hannah's fact. I really need to go because I'm doing a Lego story show. If you are new, I'm doing a Lego story show about dragons at 10:30, which is 29 minutes, and I still need to reset the Lego story. So I need to get going. But yeah, if you want to know about dragons, then the Lego story show is a bit less formal than these ones. I don't tend to ask you questions. There aren't any printouts. It's just a chat about a thing that I learned this week. And we do a Lego story at the end and we do an activity. So yeah, it's on dragons. It's on 10:30. It's on YouTube. But just have a look at this Lady Macbeth style fractal pattern. What is it about this that's really freaking me out? Looks like the kind of thing you'd find on a wall in a horror film, but I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I don't absolutely love it, but it's also very scary. Right, I really need to go, but you're all being very interesting. I don't know if I'm going to have time to refresh them. Hello, Edward and Annabelle and Evelyn and Rose. Hello, you lot. Here's A again. It is plum. Yes, it is. Hi, it is so good. Aww. Oh, that's really nice. The picture is from Beth. No, but thank you for saying that. Plum. Hello, Imogen and Ophelia. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. Oh, Hannah, you're leaving me loads of comments. Look at this. This is brilliant. Oh, and you. Oh, Joanna's got that beautiful Shakespeare book. Oh, hello, Jacob. Hello. All right, Alex. Hello, Oliver. Jacob. Getting up early for this, even though you've seen it twice before. My friend. Oliver's here. I'm liking that face with the hearts. Thank you. Hello, Q, age 5. All right, Q. Hiya. Hello. 5. Age 5. You can't still be, you cannot still be paying attention to this. You can't be. You're 5. Are you just like covered in paint and just doing this on the walls? I'm covered in paint. Come on, you can't possibly have sat through a whole Shakespeare lesson and still be watching Now Q. Are you? You're not, are you? Anyway, hello. Thank you so much for coming. Plum! Hello, Dexy. Oh, hello, Shuki and Arza and Eunice and Salah and Musa. Hello. Right, I'll have a really quick refresh and then I will go. I simply must go so that I can reset Lego Story Show. But let's see, because I know it's really annoying when I say hello to people and then I click off and you're like, I just found out that I could say hello and I got to your Facebook page and you clicked off. I'm so excited for the next 5 weeks of Shakespeare. Yeah, Dexy, me too, actually. Really, me too. And Cappuccino, who's really lovely, and Little Tacker, who is the biggest and is really horrible. So he's going back to his old home soon. Brutal. Okay, so here we've had cute goats. Now there are evil goats. Hello, Kaya. For the starter, putting milk in first before cereal. Oh, yeah. That's a really good one. Putting milk in first before the cereal. I'm going to do that from now on, just to make a point. That's excellent. Yeah, no one does that. There's nothing wrong with that. But nobody does that. All right, Dexy. Okay. The Shakespeare folio, it does have pictures in it. Yes. It was Anya's birthday on the same day as Holly's. Oh, because they're birthday buddies. Oh, that's nice. Thanks for that, Lyra, sorry. We've made dandelion honey before and put them in biscuits. Yes. See, I knew you lot wouldn't let me down. We don't all put milk in before the cereal, though, do we? It is plum. You're quite right, it's plum. Etienne, see you for dragons, dude. I think we're caught up. Sometimes Facebook does weird things and changes the order of things. But I think I'm caught up. I think so. Oh, there's Magnus. Did I say hi to Magnus? And Chloe. All right. Well, I'm going to have to go. If I'm not caught up, then I'm really sorry. I think I'm caught up. Holly and Sky. There they are. Birthday. Alex is here. Alex, did I say hello to you? I did, didn't I? All right. Okay. So I'm gonna go. Here's some evil goats. Wow, they are evil. They are evil. Why are they doing that synchronized head thing? Look at those eyes. Only one of them is evil. Cappuccino, who I'm guessing is this one because of the coffee colour, is lovely. And Little Tacker is actually the biggest, and it's really horrible. Oh, guys. Anyway, right. Okay, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go and reset Lego Story Show, and I will see some of you at 10:30. Thank you so much for all your support. Do you remember I was doing an ad? Thank you for supporting me on Coffee. Thank you for going to my About section on YouTube or my sign up button on Facebook and paying me for my work. Hugely appreciated. Literally could not do it without you. See you next week. Bye.